This is not just a problem for the US, but we're seeing it right around the world. And, there's reports of cargo ships, motoring around, milling around off ports for months at a time.
Yeah, well, that's right. This is a global problem. And according to one Danish research firm that monitors global shipping, about 13% of the world's container ships are currently delayed. And I can tell you right now, for example, here in the US, they estimate there's as many as 500,000 containers currently sitting offshore. And as you explained, this is just one of the many elements in the supply chain and beyond that is fueling inflation. I mean, we just heard today from the Department of Labor in the States that the current inflation figure saw prices rise by 5.4% last month alone. And as a result, Social Security checks are being increased by 5.9%, the largest increase in 40 years, just to try to keep pace. So in the light of all of this, President Biden today gathered the stakeholders together at the White House and hammered out an agreement to keep the port of LA open and operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Wow. Now, that port handles about 40% of all the shipping containers that come into the United States. And there's about 25 ships right now sitting offshore waiting for their turn. But at the moment, it's taking about 11 days to process each ship. And I can tell you, in the country's third largest port in Savannah, Georgia, they currently have 80,000 containers sitting on their lot. That's twice as many as they ever normally have. And it's not just at the ports where we're seeing the congestion, it's in all the elements, in all the steps of the supply chain, because shipping containers are now rare as hen's teeth. Their prices have doubled and tripled, so you've got to try and get your hands on one of those. Then it might take you 90 days to get a spot on a ship. Then you've got to get it through a congested port. Then the ship may get stuck somewhere, delayed for ages. And then when it finally does arrive and is cleared, then there's a shortage of truck drivers. So look, we're seeing all this build with inflationary pressure and, of course, with the impending arrival of Christmas. And toys are one of the key things that are currently sitting in these containers on these ships, idling offshore.
COVID essentially ruins another Christmas, Michael. It's a nightmare for retailers and really all of us, because this is where the economic growth will be delayed as well. But before I let you go, I wanted to show our viewers some pictures we saw out of North Korea yesterday. These are extraordinary, really. We know that Kim Jong-un does like to put his military might on display, but are these pictures for real?
Yeah, look. They are, for North Korean, real. Let's just put it that way. Look, what you're seeing are quite spectacular photos. As hinky as they are, I presume that what you're seeing are the bare-chested soldiers being punched and having Besser blocks broken over them and laying on glass. In one sense, it's quite humorous, but in another sense, for them, that was a display of the personal strength of the members of their military. More ominously, though, were the weapons that were also displayed. The largest intercontinental ballistic missile that North Korea has developed. They haven't test-fired it yet, but they had it out there for all to see. Also, longer-range cruise missiles. But perhaps most troubling is they displayed their new hypersonic weapon. Now, that's a missile that they claim is functioning in early tests. That's yet to be seen. But a hypersonic missile, these are missiles specifically designed to avoid radar detection and interception. They fly lower, faster, and they can change their trajectory, their path in the air, making it very difficult to shoot them down. Now, they say that they test fired one of these last week and it was successful, and then they presented it for the world to see. And one of the interesting things in Kim Jong-un's messaging at this event was he said, look at all these weapons, look at what we've got. But let me assure you, fellow Koreans in South Korea, these weapons are not developed to fight you. We don't want a repeat of the Korean War where Korean fought Korean. These weapons, he said, are for the United States.